Hey everyone! Now that we glittered our ornaments and we did the Santa cam, I wanted to show you guys a few other things. I'm going to show you guys the snowman faces because I think those are really cute for Christmas, and I'm also going to show you the Grinch face. I'm going to select some snowman images from Design Space so I can share the link to the file with you guys. But for the Grinch one, I'm going to show you how you'll have to do it yourself because it's an uploaded image. It won't be shareable, but it's really, really easy. So what I did first was I went to Images in Design Space, and I'm going to type in Snowman. And I'm going to go ahead and filter by my images, free. No, not my images, sorry. That includes uploaded, free, Cricut access, and purchased. And that's going to bring up a variety. Now, I didn't find too many that's just the face. So what I did was I went through and I picked some snowmen who I thought had some cute faces. And I selected them. And I'm just going to use them. Now, I already have them on my screen, so I'm going to cancel out of this. But you can go through and you can see, you know, this one has a cute face. You just select them all and you can play around with just their faces. Ungroup and delete everything you don't want. So now what I did was I took my bulb. I'm going to use my white one for the snowman face. And I take my Cricut measuring tape, which I really like for measuring anything that has like an odd shape or anything like that. So I measured it, and I think that about a 3-inch size will be pretty good for not getting too much on the curb. Maybe 3.5. But we don't want to go bigger than 3 inches tall. This is for the 4-inch plastic bulb from Dollar Tree. So just keep that in mind. Always measure your ornament because they're all different. So I'm going to, I like this one. I think this one's really cute. So I'm going to go ahead and size that. I don't want it to be too big, so I think that's a good size. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hide this so that I can come back to it after. And I'm only going to cut this one. So before we cut, I'm also going to show you how to upload the Grinch face. So I went and I just Googled Grinch face coloring page. And I can see this one over here. I want without the yellow eyes because instead of having to upload it twice, we can upload it once and we can use the contour feature. So I'm going to click this, and I'm also going to, view the page. You can see how it has these lines here, and we don't want those. So I'm going to view the page and see if it's going to give us one without those lines. It is, great. So I'm going to right click on it, save image as, Grinch, oh, I can't spell, Grinch coloring page. Ooh. Okay, and it's a PNG, so that's going to make it a little easier for us. I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to go back to Design Space. I'm going to go down to the left-hand corner to upload. I'm going to upload image. I am going to browse, and I'm going to select Grinch coloring page, and I'm going to click select complex. That's always what I choose. I know it gets all the layers and anything hidden. I'm going to go up here to the left hand side and select my magic wand, and I'm going to erase all of the white in this. Now you can go up here on the right hand side and zoom in, make sure you get all of those pieces out. See his nose here, and then I saw down at the bottom there's this. That's going to be harder, so we're going to select the eraser tool, and you can go ahead and change the size of your eraser tool over here. I'm going to make mine a little bigger, and don't forget, if you miss anything on the next step, you're going to see it. So carefully around here, and I'm just going to erase all of this, and then when we go to the next screen, we will make sure that we got everything. No, I can see we missed a little piece right there. So we'll go back, get that little piece, and then we can go ahead and save this as a cut file. Now sometimes it's really hard to tell based on these files. So, alright, so sometimes you just got to get close and keep trying. Okay, so I'm going to save it as Grinch. You can give it more tags if you want, Christmas, whatever, but I'm just going to save it as Grinch. Now, because we just uploaded it, I'm going to pull it right here from our uploads, and insert it. Now I have an ornament for the Grinch face already done. So what I'm going to do is measure this one. This is a smaller bulb. It's a 3.5 inch. So I don't want my overall design bigger than 3 inches by, 3 inches is cutting it close. So I'll say 3 by 2.5. So what we're going to do first is size our image down. Put it over here so we can see it. So I wanted to make sure it's not larger than 2.5 up and down. Okay, so that's about a good size. It's about 2.6 wide, 2.4 high. So now what we're going to do to get the yellow in his eyes is we're going to go up here to the top of our layers panel. We're going to select duplicate. We're going to go down to the bottom right of our layers panel and select contour. Now I find it easiest to contour over here on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to erase everything but the inner part of the eye. Now sometimes it can be tricky to tell where pieces are, so I like to, you can select a piece over here first and it will tell you where everything is, but since this is a simple image, it will be easy enough. So now we have these eye pieces left. I'm going to go over here to our layers panel, and since we don't have yellow here, I'm going to go down and select, just get the closest I can and throw it right there. So now I'm going to go ahead to make it, and I made sure that I had attached my pieces for the snowman here, and I have my nose and my eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and I cut my adhesive vinyl. I'll cut the black and then the orange and the yellow, and I'll stack them up in a pile in order of what they're going to cut in. I always double check my screen as I cut, but I like everything pre-cut so I can take it off the mat and keep going. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut off screen, and then when we come back, we'll go ahead and we'll place this on our ornament. Okay, I cut and weeded my pieces, and so what I'm going to do first is, I showed you this before with our Santa Cam video, but in case you haven't seen it, what I like to do here is, it's hard to tell in the white from this video, but you see the seam right here. I like to put my fingers on each side where the seam is, and then I turn this top of my ornament to about the center, and I use the top right here as my center point of the ornament. Now I'm using the cup that I drained my poly out of. It's nice and clean and dry, and I use that as a little prop. Now what I'm going to do first is, and this is very important to make sure your vinyl sticks and it sticks well, is to clean your ornament, the outside of your ornament, with some rubbing alcohol. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wipe my ornament down all around, make sure it's nice and clean, and I'm going to just dry it up a little bit so we can put our vinyl right on. Now for this snowman ornament, I'm going to actually go ahead and do our Grinch bulb too really quickly. Set that aside. For the snowman ornament, I like to do first is, because the mouth and the eyes are both the same color, I like to go ahead and apply that first, and then the nose, instead of layering it all on at one time. I like to do it in pieces. I find that to be a little bit easier. For the Grinch, I will layer it on top of each other. So I'll show you the differences here. So I've got my transfer tape here. I'm going to go ahead and just transfer my eyes, nose, mouth piece here to my transfer tape. I like to rub, this is a little more used piece of transfer tape, so I like to make sure I'm rubbing it really well on the front and the back, and then I like to pull the back of my vinyl from my transfer tape. Like I said, this is a pretty used piece, so some of these pieces aren't sticking perfectly, but it's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and bring this back, and I'm going to use, like I said, the center point here. I'm going to use that as the center of my design. I'm going to place it carefully. Now you might need to cut some slits in your transfer tape, but I'm going to do this kind of in sections to make this just a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead first, and I'm going to apply the bottom on the mouth. So I'm going to go ahead and just go around. And then I'm going to pull that back I'm going to stick my transfer tape down in the center here where there's no vinyl, making sure that these pieces don't touch my bulb. I'm going to carefully pull this up, and then I'm going to allow my vinyl here and here to go down. And that's going to make sure it's lined up nice, but we're doing it in pieces still, so it's easier. I'm going to go ahead over here, grab my nose piece, and this is why I think adding the nose is easier after instead of layering it on top, because then you have that nice centerpiece there to hold your transfer tape while you pull it up from the bottom and do that. So then I'm going to go ahead and line this up here. And I'm going to start here, and because it's on the fold, I'm just going to carefully rub it down. And I'm noticing I got a little crease here. I'm just going to work that out a little bit. Pull my transfer tape up, and I just find that sometimes it's easier to work those small little creases out afterwards. If they're a big crease, you might want to be a little more careful, but it's just a little one, so I find that easier. Now you have a really cute little snowman bulb. Now for the Grinch face, what I like to do is I like to make sure my transfer tape's big enough to fit it all. And then I'm going to lay my eyes about where they are on here. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to pick the eyes up first, but we want to make sure that we're leaving enough room for the rest of our design. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm only going to grab the eyes carefully. Oops. So I'm just going to, you can use registration marks if this will make it easier for you, but I don't like to waste the vinyl. So I'm going to grab the eyes like that. And again, I'm going to transfer this to my transfer tape, and then we'll grab the rest of the eyes. Now I really like to do it this way instead of registration marks. In this case, you probably would have wasted a decent amount of yellow, and I don't like to do that. So I'm just going to eyeball it and carefully set it down. And then I'll pick up the whole rest of his face. Oops, creased my transfer tape there. That's not good. I'm gonna get my vinyl off of here and fix that. I rubbed it a little too hard. It's all right. We will fix that. All right, so this is why it's important to carefully rub your transfer tape, which I always recommend. Don't always follow my own instructions, but I'm just going to carefully pull this vinyl back up here. That way. We're gonna carefully do it. Vinyl stretches when you pull it, so it's very careful to do this. I mean, it's very important to do this carefully. So I'm just going to go ahead and carefully pull this up, and then I'm going to just place it back down with my finger carefully. And you know what? I'll go ahead and I'll place that on the bulb after, so I can make sure it's lined up accurately. This side, I got a little knocked off course. There we go. Okay, we'll straighten this all out, and I'll add that other eye in afterwards. I'm going to use this little cup here, and again I'm going to check for the seam on the side of the bulb. I don't see one here. Usually you can look for the little bulb on the bottom. It looks like this one's pretty seamless, so I can just go ahead and apply it wherever. And I'm going to use the little cup that I dumped my glitter back into from this ornament. And because we're doing it all as one piece this time, we do have to be more careful. So I'm going to kind of line it up here. And I'm going to put like the center piece down, and I'm going to go down and over to the side while being careful not to put down the top piece of my ornament just yet. And I'm going to carefully lift it up, what I already applied. And make sure your vinyl's down. Sometimes it's tricky because of that curve, but we just carefully pull this up and then flatten down any pieces, and then we can go ahead and we can make sure we stick. Pull this back, make sure the center, we're going to go from the center both times, is down, and we'll push up. And then we'll carefully go over. Now this one you might want to slit some cuts into to lay your vinyl down flat, depending on how big your image is. That would definitely help here. But mine's not too big, but I can see where if you get this a little bigger, it's going to affect your image. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that yellow piece that I kind of botched a little bit, and I'm going to pick that back up on my transfer tape, and we'll carefully put it back down on our design, and then we will be done. So now if that were the case, if we were to layer this afterwards, you just do the same thing like we did lining it up. We're just going to be really careful because once it's on the bulb, it's not really coming up. So we'll just carefully push that down, and you have yourself a Grinch face bulb and a snowman one. Super easy.